Back to the garden. Agatha and Rainbow saved a seat for me in the sun. Agatha held out a glass of her delicious flower water. Spirit has you on fast track. I sense you're being trained for something very different from what we are doing here, said Agatha. Rainbow nodded in agreement, her brow all furrowed up in contemplation. Yes, I agree. I'm inclined to return to the question I had before. You seem to be a master, yet you come as an apprentice. Why? Why do you need to know this? Were you never taught the subtleties of crystal energy? Rainbow looked at me expectantly. I hope I am not offending anyone by being here. I learned most of what I know about crystals from my intuition and practice. Though I have had a few teachers, only one taught about crystal energy, and that was basic beginner knowledge, which was fine when I was a beginner, but I found that there were things that I just knew about crystals, how to line them up, how they reflect energy and cut energy cords and clean rooms. For me, the crystals keep me safe and healthy. By amplifying my light, they can augment a healing, cut energy cords, slice through auras, and enhance telepathy. I once dreamt of a crystal garden, and when I arrived at the crystal village, I thought that was it, but it wasn't. Slowly, I came to know that my work was to include all I could learn about crystals. So I asked for a teacher, and then Agatha appeared, sitting on the village bench. Spirit presented me with an opportunity. I don't know why or how I am to use this knowledge. Right now, I feel so grateful for this opportunity. By this time, Cloud had come to sit with us. Do you feel you will teach this to others? Maybe a lot of people have crystal knowledge, but I'll wager few know about their solar and galactic connections. We all chuckled a bit. That's true, agreed Cloud. I need to quantify what I've learned and meditate on what to share. If someone wants to know more, then I could teach them personally. Who knows, maybe I'll bring them to see Agatha. I stood up and brought my palms together in gratitude. Namaste, Cloud. Namaste, Rainbow. Namaste, Agatha. It seems it's time for me to go. Agatha was nodding. Yes, I can see that it is, said Agatha. She turned toward Rainbow and Cloud and hugged each other. As always, you are all in my heart, Agatha said. Thank you for coming, Rainbow said. Come any time, said Cloud. The three of them brought their palms together and bowed at the waist, making a perfect triangle. In gratitude, they spoke in unison. Agatha and I quickly packed up and left the valley. I looked back at the Shambhala before passing through the stone sentries. I would likely never return, but I knew that my experiences there would last a lifetime. I am grateful, I thought, and stopped to say my prayers of gratitude with Agatha chanting just a few feet away. Thank you, beautiful mountain, for letting me visit your loving valley. I am so grateful you let me pass through your gorgeous, fragrant flowers and drink from your sacred stream. I guard your secrets in my heart, May this place continue to know only beauty and light. Namaste. I put my hands together and gave a short bow, acknowledging spirit to spirit, turned and followed Agatha along the rocky path back to our cave. As usual, Agatha moved over the stones quickly and easily, like a superhero. By the time I showed up, she was serving hot tea. The rooms seemed stark after being in the cave of the Rainbow People. Agatha wasn't talking. She simply handed me a cup of hot herbal tea and made a place to sit down in the large living room. I nursed my tea and waited in silence. "You're not staying." My mind was blank and words didn't register. Sorry, Agatha. Did you say something? I did. You have chosen to leave the mountain? I think so. Agatha, I saw some things while I was working with Cloud. I saw the possibility of a life where crystals were the main power source that materialized telepathic thoughts. Was there a community of people, a village with such a power source? Yeah, I think there was. How did you know? Agatha took a slow sip of tea before speaking. Long ago, my grandmother told me a story of a people that lived in the mountains in a valley much like the one we visited. They used crystals, like you said, with telepathy. They manifested what they needed and kept to themselves. My grandmother always said that they were keepers of the old ways of the garden. When I was a child, I thought she meant the yard behind our home in the Crystal Village. Agatha laughed. Agatha, are you saying that this community already exists or that they no longer exist? She closed her eyes and took a moment to meditate in her way. These people still live on our sacred Mother Earth, but I cannot see where. My grandmother was from another village in these mountains, so her stories are likely to have nothing to do with the Crystal Village where I grew up. If you have seen them in the dream time, then they may be part of your destiny or a possibility to come. When we work with crystals, there is no time, no space. So I interrupted. So there's no telling which dimension my visions came from. Agatha nodded, sipping more tea. Tell me exactly what you saw. I took a big sip and began. I saw bees swarming and flying and bumping into me like they were trying to tell me something. Then I was spinning the torus, the Merkaba with rings, and I heard this voice giving me instructions. Travel in the Merkaba by will using the fifth chakra, the blue light, and honey soup. Go through the Merkaba, male and female. Two people, adept at spinning, can reach for each other through the honey soup and travel their bodies in time. Find a partner who is adept at spinning and healing the planet to go anywhere and shine the light. I paused for another sip. Then I saw a village of people using crystals and telepathy. It was so bright in their village, like the Crystal Village. Everything was luminous from the inside out. Agatha nodded, closed her eyes, and sat silent for some time. I decided to make some more hot water and prepare some food. I had a feeling we were going to be up a bit longer than we thought. By the time I finished making a porridge of nuts, herbs, dried fruit, and grains, Agatha was ready to speak. I thought you weren't paying much attention to my cooking, but I see you learn quickly, she smiled. Thank you for making us food. It's delicious. Which tea did you pick? I took a big whiff of the scented water. It's my favorite. Spearmint with roses. Agatha mirrored my action and nodded. Let's start by listening to the words of the dream. I nodded, sipping more tea. When the two opposites come together, a male and a female, with the same purpose and commitment, they can travel through boundaries using their will and their common vibration, not as lovers, but as two with a common purpose, a calling to heal the planet. They come together as an act of compassion, pure hearts. She looked at me expectantly. Did I translate it well? I nursed my tea, mulling over the words. Sticky boundaries or nourishment? I asked. Agatha spoke through a mouthful of porridge. It's the love that binds the planet together. What she was made of, the third dimension of material, thoughts and emotions. Honey soup is what we live in, but it's penetrable with the right combination. An adept male and female who spin the Merkaba as Taurus rings can come together with the intent of using light to heal the planet. You mean the planet's inhabitants? I interrupted. Yes, thank you. What isn't clear in your dream is whether they penetrate the soup or travel within it. They reach for each other and then travel through or in honey soup. My intuition is showing me a picture of stepping through a sort of window. The window is the soup, thick but moving. I think I'll have to ask for clarification on what honey soup is. I shrugged my shoulders and made a face at Agatha. Agatha and I laughed and laughed until we finally decided we needed some rest. The next day dawned with an energy full of action. I spent the night dreaming of traveling to the sands of the Middle East. Someone was working the energy with me, but there was no exchange between us. Like the universe assigned me a working partner and vice versa. I opened my eyes and sat up. Agatha was sitting across from me waiting. There was a small table with a platter of sprouted nut and bean bread slices with butter honey spread. The teapot was still steaming, scenting the air with a grassy orange aroma. How did you sleep? Her question had a knowing intonation in it. I was traveling in a sandy area that looked like the outskirts of Dubai. But I've never been to Dubai, so who can say? I moved over to sit on the grass poof I made from our valley of abundance. Agatha had rolled out a beautiful red carpet to place everything on while I was sleeping. I must have been tired, or you were very quiet to place all these things out and not wake me. Agatha smiled at the compliment. It is simply a form of meditation to move about without making loud noises. She poured me a cup of steaming hot tea and passed me a plate of the bread. Did you travel through the honey soup with a partner? I nodded. I remember seeing feet and holding hands. We faced each other after we arrived and concentrated on projecting light. Then we left. It's odd, Agatha. I often dream of doing healing work in and around the Dubai, Saudi Arabia area. Why do you suppose I keep going there? Agatha leaned back, holding her cup in both hands. Maybe there is something there for you, a past or future life, perhaps. Do you remember traveling anywhere else? My mouth was full of sticky bean nut bread. They seem to be places I have an affinity for when I'm awake. Agatha nodded. Your conscious and subconscious are working together. In the conscious world, you are mapping places for your dream body to visit. Can you travel while you spin the torus rings? I have, yes, but I have no intent when I spin the rings. I simply spin them, and spirit takes me, come what may. Agatha was perplexed for a moment. She closed her eyes and dropped into a meditative state. I watched her while I buttered another slice of bread. I see you've been called to many places through this meditation, and I see that you no longer need the meditation to access the energy. You are being called to move on in your training and your work, and this is your next task. Though I don't see it lasting very long. Oh, I understand. You are a traveler. And these are places that either you or other travelers of light will arrive to. Perhaps when you're finished training in this forest, you will walk the light through other forests or deserts, or someone like you will. What's wrong? A look of concern flashed my brow. It doesn't sound like Cameron is part of these images. Agatha reached out to hold my hand. I think you forget that on Earth we have free will, and you may ask that Cameron be your partner in the light, or you may request within the parameters of highest good, and the universe will send Cameron if it's part of his calling. Thank you, Agatha. It's tempting to request Cameron, but I see what you're saying. I would step into ego if I made that request and place myself in the way of spirit. Agatha just nodded and ate more bread. In the end, it's always your choice. Tell me about the other places. I sat up and described the wild apple forests of Almaty, Kazakhstan, and the Tian Shan Mountains, and Angkor Wat, and Krong Siem Reap, Cambodia, and Pondicherry in eastern India. Actually, I think I could spend a life traveling from Dubai to Kazakhstan to India, but I would feel sad to get that far and not have visited Cambodia. I've mapped this trip once, Agatha. I hope a chance to travel comes forward. Would you like to live in one of those places? Maybe Almaty or Dubai, though in the end, I think I will always be happiest in the West. Agatha got up to clear the table. I poured another round of tea for us. What do you think you will do with your new crystal knowledge? I was hoping Spirit would tell me or show me, though my intuition has shown me a picture of calling in crystal energy from the universe. So maybe it's for traveling. I took a long sip. The tea was still very warm. Agatha sat back and closed her eyes. Yes, I see you doing that, and I see why you might, but I strongly urge you to stay away from those types of pictures and let Spirit guide your actions. Yes, Agatha, I promise. What do you have planned for us today? I have enjoyed our short time together, but now it's time for you to start another part of your training. You are leaving. From today till we next meet, you will work with me through dreaming and pictures, intuition, and crystals. We will meet often in the crystal garden. I have never taught an apprentice like you, and last night I realized your next step involves using your new knowledge. It's possible we may never meet in the physical again, but we will see each other often. Do you have any questions for me? I was floored. Phew. Wow, Agatha. Okay, so do I just call for you telepathically? Yes, through the crystals. Let them do the work. A large one in your lap or one in each hand should work. Crystals are powerful. They will augment your thoughts. So use your intent to focus your mind during your meditations. We don't want a party line. It's best to save your questions for a daily check-in instead of streaming dialogue. Do you have any more questions? Oh my gosh, yes. What's the next town or village in the forest? In Fair City, I was given the names of 9 places. They sort of made a loop through the forest, ending back in Fair City. You have free will. You can choose to continue through the forest, or you can leave the forest altogether, or you can live in the Crystal Village. You spoke of traveling. Do you see? You can choose any path you wish. Every direction provides a path toward learning. You are no longer bound by the quest you took on when you came here. That stopped as soon as you entered into our agreement. I looked down into my teacup. The tea leaves were forming images of mountains. Are you saying that I am now on a crystal path, and crystals will augment my sounds and words to call people back to the garden and remind them of the light? Agatha swung out her hand. If that's what you wish. It touched my heart. I decide? She reached for my hand. What does your heart tell you? I put a hand on Agatha's. It's telling me to be patient and relax. Spirit will send pictures of what to do. I will stay in the Crystal Village until I receive guidance to do otherwise. I will travel with whomever the universe sends me, and I will check in with you daily. Agatha sat back and just smiled and nodded. Good, very good. That's why you are here. You adapt to change very well. You are not perfect, but we do what we can, right? Pack up. It's time to go. We talked and laughed all the way down the treacherous mountain path. Remember when you climbed up this part? The look on your face. Agatha burst out laughing for what seemed like the 4th time. I didn't realize you were having such a good time at my expense. We laughed some more, but she turned abruptly to face me. Her face was sullen now. No, I was very worried you would fall, and a few times you almost did. Your fears were great when you came to me. That's why I took you on as my apprentice. I could see your light, but I could also see your death. You love the idea of your work, but you are deathly afraid of the darkness. She turned back around and led us another 10 paces before hopping onto a ledge overlooking the Crystal Valley. Let's talk a bit and rest. Agatha reached into her bag and pulled out a richly colored blue wool blanket with red paisley designs bordering the edge and threw it out for us to sit on. We had packed jars of hot tea and pre-buttered nut bean bread wrapped in paperback packages for our descent. The fruity rose scent of my tea brought me back to myself. I was grateful for the break. Agatha leaned back on her palms and crossed her legs like she was on a beach at the ocean side. Tell me about the dark. You power through it, but I can see there is a great fear in you about it. Think about your childhood and start there. I ate some bread and sipped my tea before I began. I remember always being afraid of the dark, checking under the bed, in the closet, or around a corner. I don't seem to have any tolerance for it. I still can't watch scary movies or listen to dark tales. I visualize what I hear and it plays in my mind over and over until it wears away like an old record. I can see dark entities. They're often blobs scurrying on the ground. I can hear them when I'm asleep. I can see people who have recently died. Yeah, it seems to always be a visual fear of what I see in my mind or what I see in life. Some of my fears stem from my childhood religion. I think some fears are from past lives, too. Agatha was lying down enjoying my story like a child does when going to bed. By any chance, were you telepathic as a child? Did you experience déjà vu, maybe? I laid down on the rock, too. The sky was a shade of light blue, and clouds draped across it like our blanket. Yes, I was downtown with my grandparents and realized where we were. My grandparents insisted I'd never been there before. I propped my head up on my arms and crossed my legs. Agatha sat up. Do you remember any other times? I rolled over onto my elbow. Well, it's funny you ask, Agatha. I recently realized that when I'm sitting in a theater, I can sometimes intuit the person's thoughts sitting next to me. I think they're mine for a while, but eventually I realize they're not. And at home, before I entered the forest, I could get very strong urges to do things, but I realized that those thoughts aren't mine either. So you're telepathic, you have clairaudience, clairsentience, and clairvoyance. Agatha was smiling and shaking her head. What do those terms mean, Agatha? I've only heard of telepathy, but I can't move things. I sat up for more bread and tea. Telekinesis is the gift of moving things or elements. Telepathy is the ability to send or receive thoughts. Clairaudience is the gift of hearing words or sounds from other dimensions. Clairsentience is the ability to know people's emotions. Clairvoyance is the gift of seeing into other dimensions or having clear sight here on Earth, like seeing auras. And you are also using your intuition very well, which is your information directly from the universe. Really? Wow! Thank you, Agatha. I didn't know. I should also tell you I can find things. You know, when people are looking for something, and I know where it is, sometimes I see where it's at, even if the person lives far away. A picture pops up in my mind, and I let the person know where to look. What's that called? Agatha was looking out over the valley. You have suppressed these beautiful aspects of yourself for a very long time, right? It was rhetorical. So I think that's why you need crystal knowledge. You need to augment these skills now, not 10 years from now, which is how long it would take to become adept at them. You told me you've been spinning the torus for 20 years. Why? My dreaming is often blocked, so I learned to dream in a different way. I used the torus rings and let them take me wherever. Agatha listened with a faraway gaze, almost like she was in a waking meditation herself. I see. Now everything is beginning to come together. You were always grateful to spin the torus, and eventually you began to see a purpose for your efforts. Yes, that sounds true. One time I saw the aura of our sacred Mother Earth. It was a gift. A white and vibrant aura signaling to me that all was well. I suddenly knew that the only thing wrong with the earth was the people. She would go on, but the people were in great danger. Soon after that experience, my teacher gave me the assignment to shine my light in the world. I didn't have a purpose for this life, so I latched on to that assignment and listened to everything Spirit had to say. I knew that being vulnerable was part of that work, and learning to build up my light was teaching me about being seen and being there for people. Agatha met my gaze. Her eyes had such strong intent. Now I see why you've been asked to be a singer. But then you were born for this destiny. Yes, that's right. You just had to keep choosing to be grateful. Good God, what your parents had to do for you to be forever grateful. Agatha's voice trailed off in thought. Yes, I'm very grateful for my family. I think they are each very special people. Agatha started packing up while continuing our conversation. You must always have a crystal on your person. 2 is preferred over a larger one. When you are ready to return to your work, come and find me in the town square, and I will help you with your directioning. We stood up and slung on our backpacks. Agatha grabbed my hand. The commitment I asked of you was only to see your character. I do not bind you in any way. You are a master, and your course is true. You are always welcome here. Thank you, Agatha, for everything. I am truly grateful for our time together. She embraced me and patted my back before leaping off the ledge like a cat. The small path and long stairs up to the house seemed like a cakewalk after mountaineering with Agatha. The flowers on the path were dead and brown, and the energy of this shiny place I briefly called home was dull. I wonder if anyone is home. It's like no one lives here anymore. I pushed open the large door and walked into the bedroom to put down my things. The place looked like a bachelor's pad with clothing and underwear everywhere. The closet was overflowing with dirty clothes, and the bed sheets were tanned with dirt. I toured the other bedroom and kitchen. All the rooms were the same, like some bomb went off in the dirty clothes. The kitchen was disgusting, with moldy food and flies. I changed my mind and grabbed my pack to head to the Civic Center. "Beryl!" I yelled. "Beryl!" I waved, running at her. She was surprised to see me. "Wow, look at you! I thought you would be in the mountains for another few years. Are you visiting?" I hugged Beryl. It was really good to see a familiar face. "Not exactly, Beryl. It's a bit of a story. I was wondering if you've seen Cameron. It doesn't look like he's been home for a while." Her face furrowed up in a worried look. "Just tell me, Beryl. It's okay." She took a deep breath. "Cameron has another class that he started. A lab, really. He wanted to teach people how to spin the microcosmic orbit and..." I cut her off. "Oh, I get it. So he's having sex with his students now? I mean, the microcosmic orbit strongly activates the sexual centers the first time you feel a oneness." My hands were starting to wave around nervously. "I mean, God, that's really irresponsible of him." Beryl was shaking her head. "No, that's not quite it. Actually, he did have sex with a student, and then he quickly married her. They left for Brighttown a few weeks ago and live there now." "Oh." There was a park bench nearby that Beryl found for us to sit on. She continued her explanation. "You see, he thought you weren't coming back. Actually, none of us did." I looked out over the large lawn at the Civic Center, then turned to face Beryl. "Well, it stings a bit, but I'm not that surprised. I think it's perfect, actually. Yeah, I do." I was processing. "Well, I love you, Beryl. Take care. I'm leaving Crystal Village for now, but I may be back to see Agatha." Beryl nodded and reached out for a hug. "It was good to know you. I do hope you make it back our way soon." I got up, waved, and walked around the back side of the Civic building, hoping to see Agatha. She was right where she said she would be, sitting on the bench under a tree where I first found her. "That was fast. Hi, Agatha. Are you ready to leave?" "Yes, it seems I am." "Where would you like to go?" "Home." "What have you learned so far?" "I learned that my purpose is truly a gift and not something I just stumbled upon. I learned that my talents have been around since birth, but my sensitivity needs to be coupled with awareness and preparation. I've learned about wildcrafting and mountain climbing and fear. I've learned many aspects of crystals and the kindness of the rainbow people. I've learned about being a singer and shining my light in the deepest of dark places. Mostly, I've learned about kindness and love, but for now, I feel like I need to go home and regroup. I need to figure out my next step. Agatha was smiling at me. That's beautiful. So you're ready to go home now? Yes, I am. How do I find a path out? She took my hand. That's just the thing, isn't it? Grab a crystal in both hands. I did as she asked. Now stand and begin spinning the torus rings. Again, I did what she requested. Now imagine a screen in front of you, honey soup, and when you have that, step in and through it. Goodbye. Goodbye, I mouthed. I lifted my right leg and entered the honey soup. It was golden like the light of the earth in the torus. So beautiful. I kept my intent. Home. I want to go outside the forest. Home. Almost immediately, a hand grabbed mine, and then another hand grabbed on. My partner had appeared within the soup for traveling. My heart! I felt a sudden gush of gratitude for this gift. We were inside the torus, spinning with earth energy together, at one with the cosmos. Then it popped and my foot touched the ground. My hands were released and I lost my balance, splaying myself out on the dirt path. I got my bearings and sat up to look around. Behind me was the forest, and in front of me was the path to the parking lot. I got up and dusted off the dirt. I turned to face the opening to the forest. I could see figures darting back and forth in the shadows. I swung my pack around to get out a small crystal and say a prayer of gratitude. Thank you, beautiful forest, for all that you have taught me about shining my light and the integrity needed to do that. I pray, hope, and wish that all the beings within you find paths to all the lighted places and way stations. I made my customary short bow and buried the crystal in the center of the path. Taking a deep breath, I turned and made my way back up the path, through the apple trees, past the daisies, and to my car parked in the lot.